My name is Ben Norton, and today we're going to be making emergency needle and thread out of the yucca plant, sometimes known as a century plant, but I did a little research on that, and I think the century plant is more like the agave plant. So we can call this a century, or it's a yucca, or a bayonet bush, and that's actually what's going to give us our needle and thread, is these leaves on the plant. They're sometimes called bayonets, and what we have here on the end is that point is really sharp, and it'll actually go right through leather, and that's what makes it so good for making a needle and thread out of. Also, in this leaf, it has fibers that run the entire length of the leaf itself. So what we do is we cut this off, and we take the pulp out from around the fibers, and what we're left with is just long stringy thread attached to natural needle right there, and you can use it to sew up your leather or canvas. It'll go through. I mean, sewing cloth with this stuff is just no problem. I have a couple other bayonets that I've been working on, so we'll show you what we've been doing. We've been trying a few different things to get the pulp out, because it's not as easy as it may look. If you go, you found us, so obviously you're looking for survival type tips and tricks and things like that. You will find sites that will say, just cut the leaf off and scrape away the pulp, and you've got your needle and thread. But as I've found, it's not that easy, and that's why we want to practice all of our survival skills. You've got to practice them. If you don't practice it, the time for practicing is in your yard where you're safe. You've got resources all around you. The time to practice and try things out is not after the shit hits the fan and you're running for your life and protecting your family. So the time to practice is now. So of course we also have our knife. We always have our knife with us. These are fairly easy to cut if you have a sharp knife, but like I said before, these points are brutal, so make sure you have a sharp knife. And what a sharp knife is going to do is it's going to allow us to cut really easily through those leaves instead of having to push and apply a lot of pressure, because if we start to apply pressure and then we slip and we run that sucker into our arm, that point can go in, and that causes a few things. First of all, it hurts like a bugger. But the other thing too is that you could start developing an infection, and in a survival situation you want to keep your skin closed. Of course we'll have our first aid kit with us, but the best thing to do in a survival situation is to keep your skin closed. That's your barrier against infection. I'm going to go ahead and cut this little guy off down towards the base, because we want to have as long a fiber as possible. And there it is. So, and now we'll take it over to a flat rock, and we'll start scraping the pulp out of there. So what I've done is found myself a nice rock here, and we can start scraping all that pulp off. There's a few things I've been experimenting with. You can whack it with the back of your knife to help break all that up. Really what we're going to be looking at here is a lot of scraping. Now I'm using the back side of my knife because I don't want to, one of the things I found is that scraping with the sharp of the knife is you'll cut some of those fibers, and we really don't want to do that. The other thing you do is you can scrape it against the rock, and then you start dulling your knife that way. We're just going to scrape and scrape and scrape. One other thing that I was experimenting with is soaking it in water to make it more pliable. This is one I've been working on right here. We're starting to get some good separation. The pulp's coming off. This is fresh water, and it keeps this thing pliable. Now down the road from my house I have a saltwater bayou. So I went and got some salt water and I soaked another one in it, and it has become rock hard. So don't use salt water if you're going to do the soaking method. This one right here has just been sitting out drying overnight. So we'll give a shot with that one too, see what that turns out like. The other thing I think I'm going to try is I'm going to get a board and put a board here and see how scraping on that works. Alright, so I went and got myself a board, and it seems to be working really well. The other thing I noticed is that the edges of the leaf here, they're a lot harder to scrape off than the center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off the edge of the leaf. There seems to be a part that wants to hold the whole thing together. So I think maybe that will improve our chance of being successful making a needle and thread. And again, this is just another example of why having a sharp knife is essential, because you can imagine, doing this with a dull knife and how difficult that would be. So we've trimmed the edges off the side, and this one's really, it's amazing. I did this yesterday for a little while, and this is going a lot faster. And I think a lot of it has to do with this board, and just being able to push really hard on the board and scrape with my knife. See how we're getting these long silky fibers right here. So this is working really well. And this is just practice again, because yesterday I was doing this and it wasn't working well. It wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. I'd seen the survival guys on TV do it, and I'd read a couple of articles on the internet about it, but until you do it, until you actually figure out, hey, here's a little trick, here's a little tip, it just isn't going to work. So we've got to practice this stuff to be able to put it in use when it becomes necessary. Now it looks like with all this scraping, I'm starting to lose some of my fiber, so I may be getting a little too aggressive here, so I'm going to slow down just a little bit. But even with losing a good number of fibers there, I still have quite a few left. So we should be able to make something happen here. Scarlet, come here. Come on. That is really cool. I've never done this before. This is the first time. Like I said, I've seen it on TV, I've read about it in books, but I've never done it. And that's really what separates real prepared people from people who just think they're prepared. And that is people who are actually prepared practice this stuff. It's still kind of wet. It's got some pulp still in there, but I mean, for quick and dirty, you're gonna be able to sew something up with that. Now, I wouldn't recommend stitching up your buddy, but I'm gonna go grab me a piece of cloth or something, and we're gonna see if we can make it stitch. You know, if I had more time, if I was in a situation where I was running, the nice thing about these yucca plants is they grow just about everywhere in the country. People have planted them in their yards. I was talking to my neighbor. His dad used them as security. He planted them around the windows because these needles will, you know, nobody's going to be walking through those to try and get you TB. But if I had more time, I might get myself some of these things and, you know, get them prepped a little bit like this, and then slowly work all the junk out of them, all the pulp out of them, and then have some nice clean thread. It's strong too, really strong. Okay, well, I'm gonna go get a couple pieces of cloth and we'll see about sewing with this thing. Alright, so I've got my pair of old Carhartts out here to give this thing a test, just to see if it'll actually poke through the duck cotton like we'd want it to. And there it goes. And it's a little thick right there. Let's see if we'll go through one. Definitely going. What I'm running into is right at the base of the point. I haven't gotten all that pulp off, so let's work that in. Okay, so what we're doing is I put the needle in. I got a phone call, I had to go. Put the needle in the pants. It went through just fine. What I'm seeing is I still have too much pulp right up here at this end to follow it through. So we're just going to clean that up. Alright, see how that works. See how it would be beneficial to have some kind of multi-tool at this point. I've got the back end smaller than the needle itself. I'm going through 2 layers of this 10-ounce duck or whatever it is. Didn't really want to go. Just tough to get that back end through. It's really neat in theory. don't know that and then there I've already broken my needle point off. I don't know how durable it is. What we do have, however, is natural fiber that can be used for, tying stuff. I mean, that'll go right into a knot. You can tie 10 poles together with it, things like that. It took me 15 minutes to get this fiber. We could also braid it together, make a longer rope. That might be something for another day. So all in all, as a needle and thread, it might work on lighter weight stuff if you're repairing a tent or like t-shirt material, something like that. But if you're going with leather or some really thick canvas type pants like this, I think you're gonna have a hard time with it. But other than that, that's how it works. And then one other thing I noticed is keep these things wet and you just keep scraping it over your knife like that, and you get more and more of that pulp out, and eventually you have some nice clean fiber that you can use to tie things up. I imagine you could braid this into boot laces if the boot laces were done. We'll have to keep this around and dry it out a little bit and see what happens to it. So, but that is about 12 inches worth of fiber from a yucca leaf.